Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Don't you want to sound rich?
Welcome to episode 43 of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with a proclivity for positivity. Welcome to All Things Elite. I'm your host, Floyd Johnson, and with me today, from the Social Suplex's Keepin It Strong Style, the captain of the Social Suplex Podcast Network, Mr. Jeremy Donovan. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. How you doing?
I am doing well. For all of you wondering why you're not hearing Miss Phoenix Amy O herself, she does another show called The Dragon's Den, and I definitely think you should subscribe. And she's going to record that tonight with Jen because it is Wrestle Kingdom weekend. That's a big weekend for their show, so she wasn't going to be able to do both at the same time. I had messaged Jeremy to be on the show with both of us, so she's like, "Oh, Jeremy's going to be there. Well, it would make my life a whole lot easier if he could just record that one and I could focus on our show." So I was like, that makes sense. I love my shows with the captain. He was at Dynamite this week. And of course, he does Keepin It Strong Style, which is a New Japan podcast. So this is just, if you want an expert on Wrestle Kingdom, you go to Jeremy Donovan, of course.
Yeah, man. And I've been doing so much Wrestle Kingdom content this week. Also, we did our show this week, and then I was on One Nation Radio's year-end review for New Japan. Last night I was on Outsider's Edge on Chair Shot Radio. I've done stuff on Lords of Pain Radio, Implications. We did preview prediction columns on lordsofpain.net. with Implications and Sir Sam. So yeah, I've been all over the place doing content. I'm in the Voices of Wrestling year-end ebook from New Japan, so all over the place.
I picked up the year-end ebook either last night or this morning, so I made my yearly donation. I don't read a lot, so it really is, I buy it, it's on my screen, I'll read your section, but I probably won't read more of it because.
Well, I don't blame you, man. That thing is over 400,000 words, and as they were saying, I was listening to Voices of Wrestling flagship today. Like, the book is not meant to be read in like one sitting or read before Wrestle Kingdom. Like, it's a tool, it's a resource for you to have all year and look back as you're watching big shows. As somebody's walking down the aisle, you can pull up their profile, see, what their record was in 2019, what their predictions was for 2020, and just kind of get a better understanding of some of the guys and the storylines. And then there's a lot of great, essays in there from, New Japan columnists all over the internet. So there's a lot of great stuff that you can enjoy all throughout the year.
And that's what you contributed in an essay, correct?
Right. Yeah, I did a Bullet Club essay.
Oh, cool. I was really upset when I listened to your award show and the Bullet Club did not win Faction of the Year, seeing as they held like every title in the company all year. I was like, that seemed like slam dunk to me.
Yeah, that was my vote. I voted Bullet Club in my first place for faction of the year.
Yes. That was my vote also. When I contributed, I said Bullet Club, but I was very shocked that they didn't win.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. I mean, the LIJ fans, man, they are diehard. This is the third year in a row that LIJ won faction of the year. Yeah, the LIJ fans always show up.
All right. Well, I was gonna say, I just finished keeping it. Your show was long this week, so I just finished this morning. Having Chris Sampson on there was really, really cool. I liked his insight on it, and then of course, the young boy Josh Smith. I feel like you should call him the fanboy Josh Smith. Because he's like, yep, when they left New Japan, I quit paying attention to them. I was like, I love it.
Yeah, seriously, I remember like Josh going back and like binge watching every Being the Elite so we could like cover it on Keeping It Strong Style, and he'd be like, he would watch it before I would, and he would like have all storylines down packed and all the stuff. They left. I'm like, hey man, you watched Being the Elite this week? No.
Yeah, and he's like, and I'm never watching it again. Which is awesome. If for the other people to listen to the show, this is a very fan-driven show. I do not try to be impartial at all. So that's not what if you come here, that's not what you're coming here for. You're not looking for an impartial point of view. I'm going to give you the point of view according to what's best for AEW. I was doing my other podcast, and my friend was like, what match are you most looking forward to? And I was like, Jericho and Tanahashi. he's like, there's some great matches this week. I'm like, yeah, they're amazing matches. I was like, I think at least 2 matches could be match of the year candidates. But Jericho and Tanahashi directly affects AEW, so it's pretty easy for me. No, but start the show off by reminding you this episode of All Things Elite is brought to you by Power Slam TV. Power Slam TV, where you get access to over 4,000 hours of content from over 110 of your favorite wrestling brands from countries all around the globe, right onto your laptop and mobile device. If you use this code Social Suplex, you get the first month free. Well, I do usually do my big news of the week, but the actual big news of the week is some housekeeping for our show, All Things Elite. Jeremy, we moved from the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We migrated over to Red Circle. So it should only mean a couple things for you as far as your RSS feeds and how you have your stuff set up now. That should mostly, if you're following the Social Suplex Podcast Network, that will remain the same, correct?
Right, yeah. So if you were, no matter what you were subscribed, if you're subscribed to Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, if you were subscribed to the Social Suplex Podcast Network, you should be still getting our episodes. I haven't heard anybody in the last week or so since we've migrated from hosting from Podbean to Red Circle. I haven't heard anybody say they've missed anything. So yeah, as long as you're subscribed to the network feed beforehand, you should still be getting everything.
All right. So this means 2 things for the people listening to this show. You can now subscribe directly to the All Things Elite stream on whatever your whatever your podcast app is. So Google Podcast. I actually went because I have both Android and an iPhone, so I made sure it was everywhere. You can go on Apple, it's there. You can go on Google Podcasts, it's there. It even uploads a copy to YouTube, which I didn't even know.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. There's a Social Suplex Podcast Network YouTube account. Also, all the episodes are up on our homepage, socialsuplex.com. You can listen there, mobile or desktop. And yeah, like Flo was saying, every show now has their own RSS feed. So if you only have, 1 or 2 favorites, you can subscribe to those individually. And they're pretty much on every podcast app out there. Or if you love all the shows, you can keep subscribing to the network feed.
Now, and I was going to say, that's my preference. I would prefer you go ahead and just stay on the Social Suplex Podcast Network if you can. Keeping It Strong Style, One Nation Radio, Grown Men Watch This Shit, The Ricky and Clive Show. Did I miss anything?
Get in the Ring.
Get in the Ring. All those shows are great shows. I download them weekly. I can honestly say, because we provide so much content, I'm usually an episode or two behind on each show because it's like, seriously, I mean, I would just listen to podcasts all day because we provide that much content. But just make sure that you're following us on all your podcast apps and leave a rating, leave a review. You can go to YouTube, under your YouTube, leave a review there. I'm checking them all now. Put it in, Google, whatever. Just let us know what you think. We got one review from this mysterious man named John Juris. It was amazing. He gave us 5 stars. And I was like, I think you should all follow suit. But if there is something we can improve, if there's different content you want us to provide, I am very open to suggestions. Always been open to criticism because I just want to do better. I do this literally for fun. I love talking. So if any way I can be better, I will definitely take it from you. And the second thing, we now have a donate button. Now, please feel free to leave anything you want, $1, $5, whatever. All we're going to do, any of that money, I will guarantee you will go to making this show better. If Tiffany needs new audio equipment or Amy needs a new mic or anything like that, they will definitely have that. So that's what all the money is going to go to. I guarantee you all the money is going to go right back into the show. I've never intended on getting rich by doing podcasting.
And I made an easy page for people to go to. If you go to socialsuplex.com/donate, you can go to that page and you can click on the donate button under the All Things Elite logo. That will take you to the donation page for this podcast, and you can go ahead and leave your donation for this show.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Like I said, anything is welcome. If you can't do anything, don't feel bad. Like I said, I just love this. I get as much from you listening as you do from me talking. So anything is appreciated. All right, so we are done with the housekeeping part. I didn't miss anything, did I?
No, you're good.
All right, so we're good. So AEW Dynamite is back this week after a week off. I was at work on Christmas. Like, I don't know what to do with my hands because I watch Dynamite on Wednesdays. That's what I do. But I am very happy that they got to spend their Christmas with their families. I think that should always be a thing. I honestly I know they probably won't, but I just think that Christmas week should just be no show. But I would like, and especially with TNT doing NBA basketball, it's not like they need the content, but if they do have an open spot, I would love to see like now that we'll have a whole year of TV, like a best of kind of a show.
Right, and they did do a best of Dynamite on AEW Dark this week, which was pretty cool. And I kind of wish they would have done that on TNT last week.
Yes, I saw. Yeah, I would have liked that too. It was. I watched Dark this week, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. But I could see it since they've only been doing shows since October. So that's why I didn't do any That's why I didn't really do a best of the year. I know some people did their yearly awards. I decided I'm just gonna wait until we have a year of shows, and next year will be our first annual, all things Elite awards, because it's cool. We only had 3 months this year, so I was like, okay. We all have our favorites, but it'll give them more time to establish everyone. You won't have just like Brandon Cutler in 5 matches, and you'll have many matches.
Right.
Yeah. So let's see. First thing was the road to Jacksonville. Did you watch this?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. The Road 2 series is a favorite of me and Tiffany. It's well produced. Apparently, they're the production team in Atlanta. I forgot what it's called, but I know Cody is heavily involved. And this one was not very Cody focused, which is always really weird on the Road 2s because, they're kind of his thing. It was really about building up to Jericho. At least the first part was about building up Jericho and Moxley. What did you think?
Yeah, I love the Road 2 series also. I think they're so well done. I think it's a nice bite-sized thing that's easily to watch, and it definitely helps move the stories around. It just gives a different take, and I don't know, it makes it feel a little bit more personal for me.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ask you a question because I've heard, I know you watch every week, but what do you think of them building some of their storylines not on Dynamite?
Yeah, so I don't know. It's hard for me because I watch everything. I watch Dark. I watch Being the Elite. If a Road 2 comes up, I'm watching the Road 2. I'm looking to get that content any way possible. Now, I do understand from, I guess if you want to call it a casual fan standpoint, I only have so much time today. I just want to watch Dynamite that, I shouldn't have to watch, any of the things that are, extra to be on the know. But I do think they should continue to kind of foreshadow stuff and kind of there shouldn't be like a major angle or major storyline plot on Being the Elite or Road to. If you just watch Dynamite, you should be fine. But to reward the people who watch everything, there should be hints and teases. For example, like the whole Hangman Page and Kenny rivalry on Being the Elite a while back. They had that whole thing where Hangman had a dream that he was feuding with Kenny Omega. And clearly that's the direction they're going right now. And so if you watch Being the Elite, you kind of knew that was coming. So you got rewarded that way.
Yeah, and I've always said it, it provides a fuller experience, but you can just watch the show. It's just, if your favorite things, like if you're a Road 2 fan, you're not going to get that on the TV show. They only have 2 hours. They don't do house shows or anything like that. They only have 2 hours. So 7.5 minutes to Road 2, that's a good chunk of your show. That's a whole match. That's a promo, whatever. So
right. Yeah, and with Dynamite, they're already having a hard time getting as much crunch into that show as possible. I mean, there's still people who get left off every week. So, yeah, it would be really hard if you're cutting match time down or even dropping a match to try and put in, a Road to segment or a Being the Elite segment.
My biggest objection is that all their content's, on YouTube,
Right.
And YouTube is on your phone, so you can always watch it. It is always accessible. I've made the point on the show before that when we were in Baltimore outside Jimmy's Seafood or whatever, there was a guy and he was working security and he asked us about our shirt. And he's like, I don't have cable at home, which a lot of people don't. And I was able to introduce him to AEW through YouTube and the Dark channel and, tell him about, he could go to, with their All Elite videos, and you're able to keep up with the TV product even when you don't have cable.
Right. Yeah. And also, too, to kind of defend, give a good reason why you should, I think it's a good thing to watch all the YouTube stuff. If you think about it, you think back to All In, there was no TV show, all the storylines and all the build going into All In was done on Being the Elite every week. All the storylines, all the build up for all those matches were Being the Elite. They sold that over 10,000 tickets just off the power of YouTube right there. So it's clear that, the diehard fans are watching the Being the Elite, and a lot of the characters and storylines that are that have been happening on AEW, the foundation was Being the Elite and kind of that build towards All In.
Absolutely. I watch everything. I talk about everything. It's and there's so much. A lot of times, weeks I'm going through reading my list, and I'll forget that they've uploaded a video, and they'll cut their own promos on Twitter. And I'm not saying do all that because that could be time consuming. But if you just stick with the Being the Elite and the All Elite Wrestling channels, you'll usually have all the backstory that you need.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So the Dustin hit a promo on Road to, and I was like, he's just so good. You know what I mean? He just seemed, the whole legitimately angry at Sammy Guevara, and I was like, it made me actually excited for the match. Thought, and then we'll get to the match in just a second. Let's jump right into Dynamite. Jeremy you were in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's right. We did the 3.5 hour drive from Tampa over to Jacksonville to be at Daly's Place. My second time at Daly's Place. I was there for a Fight for the Fallen back in July. So yeah, drove over to Jacksonville and had a great time at Dynamite.
And it was set up a little differently from Fight for the Fallen, right?
Yeah, just a little bit differently. I think something was a little bit different with how the stage was set up.
I don't feel like the ramp went right into the ring like it did that last time, did it?
I don't think so. I'd have to go back and watch, but yeah, I think the ramp was, it had the whole, that ramp they do sometimes where it goes, straight into the ring.
Yeah, because I remember Sonny Kiss dancing, and I felt like he went, down the ramp with the Jaguar after he finished his, finished his dance. And I thought that was, it was kind of weird. It made it unique because, Fight for the Fallen was their thing, and now this is the show, so having a different stage made sense. We started. We started this year as we started Dynamite with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Actually, Darby's entrance was first, correct?
Yeah, well, even first we had the cold open with the Elite. It's are the Elite still elite? Are these guys as good as they say they are? Kind of showing the past few months of them losing and being jumped, and all the current members of the Elite had big matches on Dynamite, and so the cold open was kind of answering, will the Elite be able to be elite tonight?
Yes, I'm sorry. I actually forgot about that. I was sitting there watching it on Twitter. And I saw the tweets about it, and I was like, man, they really, even if you would if this was your first episode, you would kind of know what this show tonight was about. And they were, and a fortunate thing, they were kind of running unopposed because NXT did a pre-taped award show. So so they were. So this was the show they needed. I even actually sent a friend a message. I was like, man, if this show doesn't do 800,000, with pretty much no competition from the other side, because what's consistent and the one trend I've pulled up is about 1.5 million people watch wrestling no matter what every week.
Right.
No matter what. It's World Series, it was still a split of 1.5 million. It was no matter what, 1.5 million people, 4 or 5 million people watch it. So I wonder what the split was going to be this week, and it was pretty decent. So
yeah, I was expecting Dynamite to come back roaring with a big ratings lead. And honestly, this kind of felt like a mini pay-per-view here. It had the homecoming title. It had that special co-open, and we had a lot of big matches here.
Yeah, I really wanted to be in Jacksonville. I literally ended up picking Revolution over Jacksonville because I was man, I really wanted to be there for this show because I was but I feel like there's going to be many more of these, so I will definitely make it down for Daly's Place soon.
Nice.
All right, so tonight we had Taz on the announce. He had to replace Tony Schiavone because at the same time the show was going on, Georgia football was playing.
Right.
Yeah, I remember Taz was going to be there, and I just never put two and two together that, of course, Tony's calling the game. He's not going to be able to be on AEW tonight. And so, what did you think the match? First the entrances. Darby Allin comes out on a motorcycle, has a guy from a band with him, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's what I watched back this match on TV, and Taz was saying something on commentary about this.
They said his name. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
Yeah, I know they're boys, and he took off a mask to reveal the even creepier mask. I don't know what the point of this is, but Darby Allin's half a face was a little more painted this time. It really did give me some Sting feels.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked almost kind of like a Venom kind of face paint.
Yes, but it was much more than it's usually a skull, but it was much more detailed this time. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then Cody, his music hits, and he's coming up, and before you end, you have Arn Anderson. And, of course, you listen to the show, you know what that means to me. Arn coming out first.
Floyd's running around the house.
Yes, I'm like running around at work, actually, like, oh, throwing it. And then he threw up the 4. I was like, oh, my God. Don't just throw up the 4. If that ain't leading something, I need you to keep your hands down on that one. Because Cody leaving the 4 Horsemen is kind of like my fantasy booking dream right there. No, so then Cody comes out with this big entrance, and then they have a match. And I thought this match, I like this match because I like when wrestling progresses. So, like the first match, Cody's like not taking him serious, trying to give him a wrestling lesson, whatever, like this. And this time, he comes out serious. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna take you out," and it was very intense. Like first couple minutes as they were trying to get they're trying to get the advantage. What did you think of this match?
I thought this was a really, really good match. Really great way to kick the show off. 2 of the most over guys on the roster. Obviously, Cody is, like a god to the AEW fans. And Darby Allin, they've done a great job of getting him over. Darby's a guy that I've seen watch wrestle here in Tampa in bars all time and on Evolve shows and on local indie shows. And just seeing him right there, like in that bar setting now to on this big stage of AEW is just great. And just how the fans are behind him now. Because I remember, I think it was at Fyter Fest, the first Cody Darby match. There wasn't as many Darby chants as there was for this match. I feel like, me and the Suplex guys, knowing Darby, we were all into Darby and cheering him on. But there was still a lot of the fan base who were not very familiar with Darby Allin if they hadn't watched Evolve or paid attention to his indie career at all. So it was great that, the crowd was pretty much split throughout this match of, let's go Darby, let's go Cody. And then they had a great back and forth match. There's a lot of kind of callback to their match at Fyter Fest, that spot where Cody throws Darby into the turnbuckle and some other moves. And then the coffin drop on the apron at Fyter Fest, Darby actually missed that move, and that was a big spot in that match. But this time he actually hit the coffin drop on the apron. There was a lot of great callbacks in that.
Yes. And then, Cody has added a few moves to his repertoire, including the Cody Cutter. And it was kind of cool how they integrated Arn Anderson. He wasn't too heavy-handed. They only gave him, it was 3 kind of significant parts. One is where Darby was getting the better of him, and then Cody came over and Arn put the paper over his face and talked to him. And then, I think it was another part where he had gotten advantage and Arn was whispering to him. And then the big spot, the one that I know had to happen, because if it didn't happen, why was Arn Anderson out there? So Cody gets ran into the exposed turnbuckle, which was, Darby took a shortcut. Kobe, and he goes up for the coffin drop. Arn gets on the apron and starts slapping his knee, and to tell Cody to put his knees up, and then he gets the pin on Darby after that. What did you think of Arn and Cody's interaction?
I thought it was good. I kind of like this whole idea of, Arn being Cody's coach, and it's very kind of similar to almost to an amateur wrestling match where you have your coach is there in the corner as you're wrestling and giving you advice and yelling stuff out to you. It reminded me of my time in amateur wrestling, and I'm out there in a tough match, and my coach is, giving me a certain signal or have prepared me for my opponent. So I kind of like this aspect, especially they're going for this whole, sports presentation. They have the records and the stats. So I think it's pretty cool that they have Arn. They're calling him Cody's coach and kind of giving him the plays out there.
Yeah, the head coach of the Nightmare Family. Like I said, I like that it wasn't overly heavy-handed, because that's a heel move. Unless Cody's turning heel, then of course I'll expect it more. Darby Allin removing the turnbuckle. I mean, is that just showing a more aggressive Darby Allin, or is that showing like a heel Darby Allin? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it was heel Darby Allin. I just think it was Darby just being so desperate. He wants to beat Cody so bad, and he wants to prove that he belongs in the main event so bad that he's willing to literally do anything possible to make sure he was going to beat Cody. He did not want another draw. He didn't want to lose. He wanted to win no matter what. And if that meant bending the rules just a little bit, that's what he was going to do. And, you know, it's not like he, like, bashed Cody's head into it or anything. Like, Cody ended up running into it towards the end. So I don't think it was a full-on, you know, Darby's potentially turning heel. I just think he was so desperate. He just wanted to do anything he could to put Cody away.
Yeah, he hit the crossroads, and Darby kicked out, which was big. I mean, that's, you know, like, it puts away the lower people on the card, but it doesn't put Darby away.
I thought that was it. Like, in the crowd, it was like, it's over. 1, 2, and then Darby kicked out, and that's when people were really, like, on the edge of their seats, like, wow, like, Darby kicked out. And, you know, beforehand, I was telling, you know, the crew that I was with, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Cody and Darby, they're going to open, and they're going to tease the draw from Fyter Fest. They're going to give him that 20 minutes, and we're going to get close to the very end and tease, like, a potential draw again. That's kind of what they did here. It didn't end quite as close as I thought it was going to be. I think there was like 2 minutes left towards the end of the match, but obviously kind of playing back once again to Fyter Fest and how hard it was for Cody to put Darby away. And obviously this time, both guys were even more prepared. There was a lot of great counters throughout the match, both of them countering a lot of big moves. And this match, like you mentioned too, Cody was on the very first Dynamite in October. He's here on the first Dynamite of the year. And this match was also kind of similar to the Sammy Guevara match, where you had the young guy who's giving Cody a hard time and looks really great in the match until it comes down to the end where Cody's able to squeak the win out.
Yeah. I mean, well said. There was I just thought this was told the story that it needed to do, a perfect second story. When we eventually get to the time that Darby beats Cody, because you know that's going to happen, it's going to look kind of impossible, and you don't know which time it's going to be because he's so close every time. And Darby's one of those people, I think, you know, no one's beat him with their regular finisher. You know, I mean, he's one of the few people that has wrestled Mox, Cody, and Chris Jericho. And, you know, and Chris Jericho, it was you know, Jake Hager kind of pushing him off the ropes to where Jericho got the win. Mox had to use like the super paradigm shift to pin him. It's like he's being presented as a tough out.
Right. Yeah. They're presenting him as this, you know, very tough daredevil. Like, yes, he might be smaller than majority of the guys in AEW, but he's probably one of the toughest. He's going to put his body on the line. He's going to put your body in danger. And, you know, it kind of just reminds me of, you know, young Jeff Hardy, this small daredevil kid who's going to kind of take any risk to win the match, and doing that just gets over.
Yeah. You know, and it's, you know, he appeals to everyone. Like me, I generally thought he was too small at first, and his ability to move and how quick he is and how fluid he is, I could see bigger people having problems with that. And they do a good job of telling that story in the ring.
Yeah, they do an awesome job of that. And yeah, Darby's movement in the ring is just so unique, and he's so quick and so nimble, so agile. He's just able to kind of bounce on those ropes really quickly, hit that coffin drop, and just some of like his movements are just so unique, and the way he gets into that that stunner that he does is pretty cool. So yeah, he just has a lot of cool movements. He's just a unique guy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we're gonna move on to in the next segment. Jen Decker was backstage interviewing SCU. Sammy Guevara was on the old man killer, as Rich Latta call him. So interrupts SCU, tells Christopher Daniel he doesn't have it anymore. Daniels challenged Guevara to a match next week. So Chris Daniels versus Sammy Guevara. Yeah, we'll talk about that in the preview of next week, but it's just like seems like a weird match.
Right. And one problem I have with this segment too, I felt like it kind of spoiled the results of the Dustin Sammy match later on. It's like, why are they going to set up an angle for Sammy next week if he's not winning? So I kind of wish this angle would have happened after the Sammy Dustin match.
Yeah, and it felt like it could have went anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. So then, and this is a high honor because Cody wrestled on the show. We had my favorite match of the night, the Fatal 4-Way Women's title for the AEW Women's World Championship. We had Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Rio, of course, the champion. We started with like Nyla playing the asshole she is, just, blindsided Rio and took her out, and that's kind of how the match got started. You had Shida just going off with a kendo stick on Nyla Rose. How did this play live in the crowd?
So I would say, obviously the crowd was super into Cody and Darby and spent like a lot of energy in that. And I feel like at the start of this match, not that they were out of it, but they were kind of a little bit calmer than they were for Cody and Darby. But then as the match picked up, the crowd got super into it. They were really behind Hikaru Shida and Riho were two of the crowd favorites that I noticed. But yeah, this match, it was 10 minutes, and it was a very fast 10 minutes. It was very fast-paced. Everybody in this match looked good. Everybody got a chance to shine. It was great near falls, and I think this is probably one of the best AEW women's matches that we've had on Dynamite so far.
I agree. I do think sometimes the positioning of the women's match doesn't help them to be featured as a main act. It's like, because Cody's match, of course, is going to get heat, right?
Right.
And this is sandwiched between that match and a Jon Moxley match. So it's like, when you look at the match, it's like, generally, with the other company, there is a cool down match in between it before you get to a big match. You know what I mean? Right. And then there's the New Japan style of building through the whole show. I actually genuinely prefer the New Japan style, but the difference on the New Japan style is that they don't have commercials.
Right.
So with the American style, you have this hot match with Cody, you go to a commercial, all the fans cool down, and then you come back with this match, and it's just like, I don't think they were ready for this match yet.
Right. I think you hit the nail right on the head. I don't think as a crowd after that awesome opening with Cody and Darby that we were ready for another awesome match like this. But these girls, they worked really hard and got the crowd into it. There was a lot of great spots. We had the Nyla Rose table spot, like you mentioned. Sheeta had the kendo stick, and there's just a lot of great back and forth, and the big spot where Sheeta was able to. I think she suplexed Nyla or backdrop or something like that.
Yes, I believe she suplexed her.
Yeah, and the crowd popped huge for that, and so there was a lot of great moments in this match.
Yeah, and it's just the reason I brought up what I was is because this match was like, from TV point, it was great from the beginning. I was like, with the attack, I was like immediately into it, and it just felt like the crowd caught up with me about 5 minutes into the match, and it's just like, it could lead someone to believe that, these matches aren't good, but they're really good. I thought this match was really good. This is one of the few matches that I actually went back and watched again when I was preparing for the show, and I was just like, man, this really was as good as I remember it, that kind of thing.
Right. I think too, another reason why the crowd might not have been as hot. It's just, the TV time that the women get. The women don't get as much TV time. Obviously, it's all the men do. And, for the majority of Dynamite, there's usually been one women's match and then maybe like a women's segment. So I still think there's work to be done on giving the women their time and helping those characters get over, so that way fans can be more invested in them.
Yes, but I completely agree. The whole idea, though, is we do have, a section of the roster that can't promo well. So that does suck. But I think, how you get better on promos? Doing promos,
Right.
But the finish came with Sheeta suplex Rio onto Nyla, who was in the corner. Britt Baker hits Sheeta with a super kick and went for the lockjaw submission, but Sheeta escaped. Rio came in and rolled up Britt Baker for the 3. So Rio pinned Britt Baker. Nyla got angry. She brought in the table. She placed Rio onto the table, and she put Rio through the table. Now, I tweeted out from the All Things Elite account, did Nyla Rose with that move, if you're talking about, the physical demands of the match and selling week to week, did she cost Rio the title for next week?
I think that's a great story point that she possibly could. Rio would probably already kind of have a disadvantage going in, seeing as she had a match this week, and defending the title already this week and having defended again next week. So already kind of going in with a little disadvantage. And now with, getting that, did Nyla splash her, right?
Yes.
Yes,
she splashed her through the table.
Yeah, so getting splashed by Nyla Rose to the table, that's definitely, I think, going to bring Riho into that title match next week against Kris Statlander less than 100% and give the advantage to the Galaxy's greatest alien.
Yes. Yeah, so that actually added intrigue to the match for me next week, Kris Statlander versus Rio. I do have a question. You watched the show back. I don't remember Jim Ross saying she was 95 pounds. Which I believe is the first time a Rio match has happened without him saying she was 95 pounds.
I did not hear any mention of her size.
So hats off to Jim Ross. I was like, dude, we know how much she weighs now. You've said it 100 times, man. It had gotten to WWE levels of comical.
Yeah, it was like Michael Cole saying it's boss time or the big dog over and over and over and over again to get it through your head.
Yes, it is in our head. It was gone, so it was cool.
And one more thing I wanted to comment too about the placement of this match. Like you mentioned, you feel it kind of was placed a little bit odd. Too, it was a championship match, and it was second on the card. And I really feel like going forward, regardless of which championship it is, it should probably main event the show or open the show.
I've made that point also. I can 100% agree with you.
It's the Women's World Championship. Like we saw the tag titles have main evented. Obviously, the world title has main evented Dynamite. The women's title has yet to main event a Dynamite, and that is probably for ratings reasons. But if you want the Women's World Championship to kind of be on the same playing field as the tag titles and the world title, it needs to be highlighted and featured either in that opening segment or the main event.
Yeah, it's one of those questions that if I got to talk to Cody, the Bucks, Kenny personally, I would ask them that question. I don't want to put it on Twitter like I'm trying to call them out or anything. Right. But if your titles our titles mean something, records mean something, and your women's title match is second on the card, that just seems... That seems to work against what you're saying.
Right. And I get it from a card standpoint. If I was putting this card together, I probably would have main evented with the Elite versus Lucha Bros and Pac also. That's, 6 of the biggest stars on the whole roster. The crowd's going to be really into that match. It's going to be a phenomenal match. That makes sense to main event. I'm doing this women's title match that I'm like, where else can I highlight this match? Well, let me open the show with this match.
Absolutely. You open with, even those cold singles opens where you open with all 4 in the ring and the first thing you see is Nyla attack Rio. That would have, got everybody into it or something. But, they say when you on a card, you either want to be first or last. It's just, we need to see the women's division, I think, featured more. And
right. And it's so hard because they have so many of the male talent that are so over. And honestly, with Cody and Darby, you wanted to give them time so they can play into another potential draw. So it's like, man, this card was so stacked. It's almost like, should they have even done the women's title match on this show?
Yes. Yeah. Maybe not.
And plus, too, it probably would have worked out. Like, they had known that Chris Statlander wasn't going to make it. Like, they could have just advertised the women's match for next week and not even have had the women's title match at all this week.
Yeah, and just had like a regular, maybe a one-on-one match.
Right.
Before. But after this happened, we're backstage with Alex Marvez. He's talking to Joey Janela. He cuts a short promo, and Penelope Ford just low blows him from the back. Penelope Ford and super bad Kip Sabian. They just kind of walked away while he was writhing in pain. Joey Janela said he didn't want a program with Penelope Ford on Twitter like previously. So it's kind of funny. It looks like that they're going to do a program together. And I think he used the words he never wanted a program with her. And my thought process is never is great until your boss tells you differently. Right.
And have you seen some of the interactions that have been going on between Joey and Penelope on Twitter?
Yes, I have.
I'm not a fan in the direction this is going. So people who haven't seen those Twitter, essentially, Joey said something along the lines like, "Hey Penelope, if you really wanted to touch my penis, you could have just asked," something like that. And then Penelope was like, "Oh, I had such a hard time finding it." And then apparently, like, Kip took over her account and was like, "Oh, sorry, Penelope's busy with her hands in her mouth right now," and there's this whole like back and forth, and I just do not like the direction this angle is going in.
Yeah, like, this is the other company.
Yeah,
This
I understand storylines usually are better when you involve real life drama. Yes, Joey Janela and Penelope Ford used to date. They used to be an act together on the indies. I think it does make sense for the fans of theirs to kind of acknowledge that. Because I know there's a lot of people who still hadn't even realized that Joey and Penelope broke up and were asking like why they weren't on screen together. So I'm fine with them like acknowledging it and mentioning like there was a breakup and maybe you do a match with Joey and Kip. But the whole direction they're going in right now with the sexualizing it and just pretty much making Penelope Ford just like this sex object in their little feud. I'm not digging the direction of that. Like, these guys are not Edge, Matt Hardy, and Lita. Like, this is just it's not over to that level, and I just don't like the direction they're going right now.
Absolutely. Maybe this comes from the idea that on Raw, the Lana thing was like the highest rated part of the show, and it had so many YouTube viewers, and I'm just like, I don't want them doing that. I don't want them. Like, I always want them to want to be popular and to put on the best show, but I think they should put on the best version of their show. And do their thing, and it's just like, this seems like it's someone else's thing. I can't say 100%. Joey and Penelope was like, Joey maybe felt like his character wasn't going anywhere, and maybe they talked backstage and they said, hey, maybe this will help both our careers, because Kip Sabian hasn't really, gotten over like he wanted to, so maybe they're looking at it as a nice feud between them as a way to get both of them over.
Right. And, it's one of those things, too, where, yes, the diehards know about the relationship between Joey and Penelope, but I don't know if the overall TNT audience knows that there was a history between Joey and Penelope. And I think it had been one of those things where they had just put their differences aside and they should have debuted Joey and Penelope together, had them be an act for these few months, and then have her turn on him on TV and join Kip Sabian. And I think it would have made a little bit more sense that way, and then there would have been more heat that way as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would have been more heat that way. And they, I don't know what they're going to do. I hope this is just a Twitter thing, and maybe on Being the Elite, I don't want this on the main program.
Right, yeah.
Maybe the result of them wrestling and stuff is on the main program, but the back and forth, the Twitter stuff and all that stuff, I think that should be saved for social media and then kind of explained through the announcers.
Right, yeah, I don't even want them like doing that stuff on social media either. To me, I feel like it lowers all three people involved, and it just seems like a stupid love triangle. It doesn't seem like a real like wrestling feud to me.
Yeah, yeah. And they've been broken up so long, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, so we then had Mox and Trent. Now, Trent.
Before that, I think there was a Dark Order.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Video package from the Dark Order. He referred to the Exalted One in this video package. And, of course, I threw out a tweet that actually gained a little steam. Putting in my guess, well, not really a guess, but asking the question, what if? I'm just saying what if. What if Marty Scurll is the Exalted One?
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility. I mean, from a story standpoint, all the Elite, they left Marty behind in Ring of Honor. Cody said it all in that we're all going together no matter what. He got left behind. There is storyline reasons for why he would be mad at the Elite and want to get revenge on them. And so it could make sense to have Marty kind of be in charge of the Dark Order, and he's the one that kind of wants to kill the Elite because he's mad that they left him behind.
Yes, and he absolutely puts him in a very hot storyline. Like, I always wondered, and I've been very open that I didn't know how they were going to introduce Marty. But to introduce him as the head of this faction, you immediately make him a threat to any title, any picture, and, they rock the black color scheme, the mask, he has the bird mask. I'm like, it kind of goes. I'm not saying, I think that's 100% it is what it is, but the more people have talked and replied, the more I'm like, I think that's what it is.
Right, and obviously, Marty is super over, so putting, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson with Marty, that will help elevate them as well. They'll help elevate the group, give them some legitimacy, and it's a great story to tell that Marty is angry at the Elite, and it was his plan all along to, he felt like he was losing being in Ring of Honor. He wants to be a winner, created this whole Dark Order thing, and his whole plan to, destroy the Elite.
Yeah, and the fact that he was moving these pieces while working for another company, if they wanted to pull that up. He's like, I was controlling your company when I wasn't even here. That would be pretty cool. I was very, it's like I kind of worked myself into a shoot, as they say. I got that's who it is. And if it's anybody else, I'm upset. No.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that, but I would.
The only thing I don't like about that, I just feel like Marty is so over as a babyface right now and sells a lot of merch. I feel like they could capitalize on him, on his popularity right now as a face. But I totally understand, even if he's not in the Dark Order, when he debuts, having him feud against the Elite. He owns the copyright for Villain Enterprises. You can do Villain Enterprises versus the Elite and kind of tell this whole story of Marty being mad at those guys.
Yeah, and being the villain, him starting to do crappy things, I don't think would hurt his popularity.
Right.
Yeah, so then we get Trent versus Mox. Trent is really good. And I know the point of this match was to get Mox over, but a lot of people looked into this match and, they start realizing, well, Trent could be a singles competitor. And I know that was the path he was going on in New Japan before he signed with AEW. What do you think of Trent as a singles competitor?
Yeah, I really like Trent in a singles role. I've been seeing Trent for a long time now. I watched him in FCW and NXT at kind of its beginning stages, and I always thought that he brought something to the table in a singles role, and then he went over into New Japan. He was highlighted in the Roppongi Vice tag team with Rocky Romero. They had a great run as a juniors tag team, and then they broke him off, and they were starting to push Trent as a singles. And Gato saw something very special in Trent and had plans on, making Trent one of the, top guys in the heavyweight division. And if he was still there, I feel like he'd be one of the top guys used in New Japan of America. But obviously he made the jump over to AEW. And, the best friends are super over. But I do think, Trent has a lot of potential as a top guy in a singles role.
Yeah, I really do like Trent. He has a perfect look. Perfect look. I mean, the dude's jacked out of this world. He's just as big as anybody on the roster as far as height. He has the good look. He can work. I just if they decide to go forward with him, I think that would be great for him.
And I kind of like the slow build they're doing with him right now. Like, he had this match with Moxley. He had he wrestled a Pac in a singles match on Dynamite. Like, they're starting to put him up against some of the top singles guys and showing that he's not getting squashed. He's not getting, bulldozer. He's having a 50-50 match with some of the top guys in AEW, and it's kind of planting that seed in the back of your mind, like, maybe he's going to catch one of these guys one day and he's going to get elevated.
Yeah, maybe Trent's a single, and maybe Chucky T starts teaming with Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, So we got some good spots in here. I saw he did the paradigm shift on the outside. I thought that was crazy. Trent's got a really, really good moveset. Half and half suplex I saw in the match. Hit the DDT from the top ropes. I was just like, you knew who was gonna win. You knew what the point of this match was, but I think Trent came out looking really good. Mox gave him a lot, so I do like that going forward. I think, in a way, Mox put Trent over.
Yeah, and Trent has an awesome pile driver also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where he hit towards the end of this match. Yeah, Trent has a great move set, and like you mentioned, Moxley gave him a lot. It wasn't a squash. I know a lot of people I was talking to when this match was announced, they were asking me, do you think Mox is just gonna bulldoze this guy so they can get to the Jericho segment? And I'm like, nah, Trent's really good, and they see something in him. I think it's gonna be, I don't think it's gonna be 20 minutes. I think it's probably be 10 minutes, but it'll be 50-50. And this match, went about exactly 11 minutes, and it was back and forth. Mox wasn't 100% in control the whole time.
Yep, hits the paradigm shift for the win, and got the victory. Sammy Guevara, after match, Sammy Guevara walked through the crowd. Microphone called out Moxley, and he says, they got the big surprise. He's like, I'm not trying to fight you, and then he plays the video from Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho shows him a really expensive car, it's a GT. I'm not a car guy. Immediately not a car guy.
Yeah, I'm not a car guy either, but I know it's some fancy, super expensive car.
Yeah,
something similar to what John Cena bought a while ago.
Yeah, there's only 20 available, and it had the license plate of Mox on it, and it says that car is yours. And then he offered him 49% of the inner circle. 49%. Just less than controlling interest. What do you think about that being the thing that he was not supposed to be able to refuse?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think, because to me, obviously, I think it's very obvious that Jericho and Moxley is going to be the title match for Revolution, that Moxley's not joining the inner circle, but they are doing a good job of kind of teasing this thing out and, bringing up the past relationship between Moxley and Jericho. And so I think, Jericho, it kind of plays into his character, being this, overly cocky, pompous heel, thinking that his inner circle is worth this much in such a big company that, to Jericho, that's an amazing deal. Yeah, here, you're getting 49% of this thing that I created. Of course, this is a great deal. You can't miss out on this. And obviously, to the rest of us, we're like, dude, it's just a faction.
Yes. And it plays into the overall desperation of him not wanting to fight Mox.
Right.
I will give you anything if you don't fight me. So I thought that was being cool. Mox replied, he considers Jericho a friend and a mentor, and out of respect, I will give you the answer in person. The whole world will find out what's in store live on Dynamite next week, which makes for an intense travel week for them. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question about that. Were you upset that Jericho was not there live and there was no resolution on whether or not Moxley was answering this week?
See, no, not at all, because I knew he was already in Japan. Because, we follow Twitter. We're on social media 24/7. He literally, I'm getting on the plane to Japan right now. Yeah, I did not think he was going to be at the show. I didn't know how they were going to do it. But I knew he wasn't in America, so it, of course, didn't bother me because I didn't expect him to show up.
Yeah, there was a lot of fans. They did not realize that Jericho was already in Japan, and there was a lot of fans who were legit upset. Like when Mox said, "I'll enter next week," there was loud boos from the crowd. They were very upset that we weren't getting Jericho live and that Moxley wasn't giving his answer right then and there. A lot of people were saying that it was false advertisement, that they advertised a segment, and that Mox was going to answer.
How? Well, I mean, if you want to go to technically, he did give an answer, and his answer was that he was going to give an answer next week.
Right.
I mean, if you want to go to technicalities of it, but it's just like one of those things, teasing for next week. It's, to me, when some people complain about wrestling sometimes, I always wonder, have they never watched wrestling before?
Right. And, I look back at the graphic that advertised the segment, and it says, "Will Jon Moxley join Jericho's Inner Circle?" Never did they say that Jericho was going to be there live. They did not guarantee that Jon Moxley was going to answer this week. They simply asked the question, will he join Jericho's Inner Circle this week?
Yeah, and he
did not join this week yet.
Yeah, it's such a common wrestling trope. You know what I mean? I didn't think he was going to answer. If Jericho showed up for the 5 minutes before leaving on his flight to Tokyo or whatever, I still don't think he would have answered. It's supposed to be dragged out. The pay-per-view is not till the end of February.
Right. Now, I will say Jericho 2 weeks ago on the last Dynamite of the year did make it seem like he was going to be there in person to present Moxley this offer.
He did. He alluded to it.
Right. But at the end of the day, we still got whether it was pre-tape or not, Jericho was there too. He did present Moxley the offer, but Moxley just didn't answer. He wasn't ready to answer the offer right then and there.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's one of those things. I'm not expecting everybody to be 30-year wrestling fans or whatever, or 20-year wrestling fans, or have been watching the show forever. I don't expect it, but I'm just going to explain. There are some common storytelling tropes in wrestling, and one of them is delaying you. It's like delaying the build of something, especially when you have this long a time between the pay-per-view. It's like it's damn near 2 months. At the time of the show, it was like only a day past 2 months. Yeah. And, they're not going to want, them to be overly physical before the pay-per-view. So you're going to have to – they're going to be setting the story and pushing it back. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Moxley goes to answer next week in South Haven and Jericho stops him because he thinks he's going to say no. Right. And then throw something on top of it and they have to wait another week. It's not this whole the job is to get you to watch next week. And if they finish everything every week, there's no reason to watch next week.
And at the end of the day, like, does anybody really think that Moxley's actually going to join the Inner Circle?
Dude, I mean, if he did something, it would be really cool if he did something where he, joined for a week or something like that to get Chris Jericho to lower his guard just because the shock of him joining, oh, my God, people would complain. Oh, God, people would complain so much.
Yeah, and we've seen angles like that in wrestling history. The guy joins the group you don't think he's going to join. He lays low, then catches the leader off, when he least expect it. And they could easily do that, like you mentioned. We still have a few weeks, a lot of weeks.
A lot of weeks
left until Revolution. So you could, have this whole thing. Yeah, Mox joins the Inner Circle, and he's a part of the Inner Circle for the rest of January. And then at the beginning of February, they do a tag match like Jericho Mox, and the next thing you know, Mox hits the paradigm shift out of nowhere, costs Jericho to get a pinfall loss, and then kicks off, I'm challenging you for Revolution.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 8 full Dynamites before Revolution. 8 shows. That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. So I look forward to what way they go, and how they get to it, Because, you know, a lot of times in wrestling, you kind of know the beginning and you kind of know the end. The journey is what's in the middle, you know, and I'm hoping everyone takes the time to enjoy this journey because Jericho's brilliant on the mic. Even pre-recorded, he was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the dude, like, so don't skip past the fact that Jericho's awesome to be like, well, we didn't get exactly what we thought we were going to get this week.
Right.
Yeah, enjoy it. Just enjoy it. So with Sammy Guevara already still out there, Dustin Rhodes comes out. He actually, his music starts and Dustin, he attacks him from behind. There was a little change in the music, a little upbeat. I couldn't really tell, but when Dustin attacks him, they start having a match. Dustin's pretty much got full control of the match. And then somewhere in the middle, Jake Hager comes down to the ring to keep his eye on everything. So, in general, what did you think of the overall match?
You know, I thought the match was fine. I would say out of all the matches on Dynamite that night, that was probably my least favorite match. And, you know, I like Sammy, I like Dustin, but I don't know what it was. Like, to me, this was the one match that kind of felt like it was longer than it should have been.
Yes, I completely agree.
And I don't know, I just felt like all the other matches, like I felt like this was a one match, like stylistically, and the two guys that just did not fit the other matches. Like all the other matches were like these like fast, like high octane. You had like big stars, like some big matches and a lot of cool matches. Like in this match, like it was, you know, solid, you know, pro wrestling 101, cocky heel going against a veteran babyface. But it just wasn't as, you know, appealing or as flashy as the other matches that night, and it just, I don't know, it just felt out of place.
So with what am I thinking of? Sammy G was out in the ring, so this made sense. But I feel like this match should have been where the women's match was, and the women's match should have been here. Just flip flop those two spots. But I understand for flow, Sammy's already out there talking to, you know, Moxley, so then have Dustin come out to the ring. I get it. It just didn't feel like a second from the top type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did get Rhodes doing his, you know, ever so lovely power slam, and then he pulled off a Canadian Destroyer on the apron. I truly believe one of the most overused moves in wrestling. I did love watching Dustin do it, but I wish people would just stop throwing Canadian Destroyers. I don't know how you feel about that.
So yeah, I was a big TNA fan back in the day, and I watched the rise of Petey Williams, the inventor of the Canadian Destroyer. That move used to be his finisher. I remember the first time I saw it, I popped like, wow, that is an awesome finisher. And I loved that move as a finisher. And it's just one of those things. Yes, like it is awesome to see like multiple destroyers back to back in a match, and a destroyer on an apron is cool. But at the end of the day, it's still a flipping pile driver, and the fact that he did the flip pile driver on the apron, like I feel like that should be that should be the end of the match. Like there should be no kicking out of that.
Yeah, how does Sammy get up and have any type of equilibrium to continue the match? I know it's just, it seems weird. And then you have that big spot, and then the finish comes with, you know, Hager just low blows Dustin, and then, you know, and he just pins him, and it's just such a bland finish. It was like the match wasn't that great. Like in a comparison, you know, when Styles Clash, I compared it to when the Rhodes brothers fought against the Bucks. How it's just like this should work, but it doesn't work, and that's how this match was to me. It just didn't work.
And honestly, with all like the Hager interference, I think that kind of probably dragged the match down too. Like, and that's why I felt like the match probably should have been shorter. Right. Like they could have just had like Dustin like steamroll Guevara for majority of the match. Then you have Hager come out, cause the distraction. Sammy pulls a quick upset victory, and then you go from there instead of like dragging it out and trying to have like a full on match.
Yeah, I thought Hager should have hit a move, like a move instead of whatever the hell that was. I guess they called it a low blow, but it looked like he missed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he need him. He need him the balls because they're trying to play off of Bellator.
Yeah.
In that last fight he had where he kept kneeing his opponent below the belt and got disqualified. So they've been doing that a couple times, like in the beatdown of Dustin, he had low blowed him also with a knee to the balls. Yeah, I felt, and also too, it was kind of weird because Sammy was distracting the ref and Dustin wasn't down, and then Dustin gets a low blow.
We had some technical difficulties. Jeremy's going to pick up from his last point. We were in the Sammy Guevara-Dustin Rhodes match. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, so I was saying the finish was kind of weird because Sammy is down, or he's in the corner. He's getting ready to get the Shattered Dreams, and then the ref he's distracting the ref, and then he gets Hager low blows Dustin, and then Sammy jumps for the pin. Like, wouldn't the ref wonder like how Dustin just like fell down all of a sudden, and Sammy was able to pin him for 3 seconds? Like, it kind of made the ref look bad.
Yeah, and it was one of those ones, I'm used to that kind of stuff, but it was like so blatant. You know what I mean? It's like if you were to take it to court, most reasonable people have been like, the only thing that could have happened is Jake Hager doing something.
Right. And I'm totally fine with like a distraction finish or whatever you want to get heat, use Hager. Just to make it a little bit more like realistic, maybe pull the foot or something to where it's not like completely obvious. Like, okay, like he was on offense and all of a sudden now he's just down and Sammy can pin him.
Yeah, and he just pinned him. It was like he did no offensive move. I thought he was going to do like a high flying move, but
right.
he just hey, all right, I'll take the 3 now.
Yeah, and I totally understand that, AEW, they don't want to do a disqualification, but I think they need to do maybe just one. Maybe like once a year, just so disqualifications can actually happen and these refs actually have some kind of authority besides just like a pinfall or submission. Like they can actually disqualify somebody and, that is an actual option.
Yeah, like, and the perfect person that would be to get DQ'd is like someone like Jericho, someone that a DQ wouldn't hurt.
Right. Yeah, any heel, Jericho, MJF, any of those top heels that you want to generate heat, like fans are going to get pissed off about a DQ finish, so you do it on somebody that can benefit from the heat, and then you only do it once, maybe twice a year, and that way it's special. Just like in New Japan, like it's the same issue where the refs let a lot happen, but they do a DQ every once in a while to let you know DQs can happen, and if a ref is tired of dealing with something, he's just going to throw the match out.
Oh, my favorite ones were with Red Shoes, where I didn't clearly see you do anything, but I'm not an idiot.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just going to DQ you because I know something happened and it wasn't right. And I always thought that was brilliant. And it's like, I know some people don't like him getting over dramatic, but a DQ happens so rare, all right.
Yeah. And I also like sometimes what Red Shoes will do is like somebody will blatantly like gouge the eyes or cheat right in front of him, and they'll go for a pin and he won't count it.
Yes.
He's like, no, you're gonna have to work for your pin. Like, I'm not counting the pin there. Like, do something else and then I'll count the pin.
That shows true authority to me from the referee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other than like pointing really and making really big expressions, I love my armory, but pretty much that's the only kind of disciplinary action you get is Arbery pointing at you really hard.
Right.
Yeah. So So that's it. So Sammy did get the win. Then the promo. MJF comes out with Warlow, walks down the ring, and he's going to announce his stipulations.
Real quick before the promo, we did have the private party segment when they were in the bar. And Hangman Page came out and kind of interrupted their segment with Jen Decker.
Yeah, and he was pouring himself a drink behind their bar, and then they grabbed a drink and trying to express that, Hangman might be drinking too much, and he did not like that.
Right, yeah, they're worried about them, and he said that he'll whip both their asses.
Yes, so then we see from Hangman later, but then we get MJF.
Yeah.
So what did you think about this promo overall for MJF?
Overall, I thought it was great, dude. MJF is one of the best talkers going in the business today. This guy is so smooth on the mic, knows how to generate heat. It's very rare nowadays that heels are not cool heels and trying to, get cheers. And he generates heel heat, man. It's like you're watching something from the 80s or early 90s. Like, he knows how to get on the crowd's nerves, and he knows the perfect things to say, even ad lib. You can tell that are not scripted, and he's just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best on the mic, especially like ad libbing and stuff that I've heard since Bobby the Brain Heenan. And I think that's like the biggest compliment I can give someone, because I don't think any wrestler was on the Brain's level. I mean, Roddy Piper was great, but the Brain, he had a comeback for everything.
Yeah, and I think, one thing AEW they're doing, they are highlighting some of these guys' strengths. MJF's strength is on the mic. He hasn't been in many matches, but he's been in a lot of talking segments, and that's what's been getting him over. I would like to see him have a few more matches, but his promos are so great. Like, that's been what's been getting him over.
Yeah, I want him to beat up QT on the show.
Yeah, they can do that.
That's like Cody's friend or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, just beat the crap out of him on the show. Run through all the people Cody like. But the 3 stipulations. Stipulation number 1: Cody can't lay his hands on MJF before Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2: Cody has to go one-on-one with a wrestler of MJF's choosing. The wrestler that he chooses is Wardlow. And then he decides to up it and say the match is going to be in a solid steel cage. That was different. I don't know anyone that predicted anything like that.
Yeah, no, I didn't see anybody predict that. It's pretty exciting. AEW's first steel cage match.
Yep, and Wardlow's debut match.
Yeah.
And stipulation number 3: live on TNT, in front of your family and friends and God, he says he's going to whip Cody 10 times on his back. So I'm guessing this is going to happen in Atlanta, since he says in front of family and friends and God. So the 3 stipulations, did they stick with you?
What do you mean?
Like, do you think they're solid stipulations? Did they none of these were any that I ever heard anyone guess.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody guess these, and I think they are kind of great stipulations as far as the heel side on MJF. Like, if Cody really wants this match, like, A, he has to restrain himself and not try to attack MJF until Revolution at the end of February. B, he has to beat this monster in Wardlow in a steel cage where there are no disqualifications, and MJF could easily help Wardlow win. And then when he gets through all of that, he still has to get down on his hands and knees and get 10 lashes in MJF and not retaliate. So it's literally stacking the deck against Cody. It's getting a lot of sympathy for Cody. And it's a great way to see, like, how bad do you really want this match?
Yeah, I mean, you got to want it pretty bad to get whipped 10 times, man. I thought this was one of those things where, like, when people were asking me, I was like, the dog? I mean, I really had no guess. And I am pretty happy with these stipulations. And it does a great build. So you got a steel cage match you can build to. You got the whipping you can do on a different other week, and then you can tease MJF, keep doing shit to Cody to try to get Cody, to hit him.
Right, yeah, there's plenty of segments that build up. They can do one of those 8 weeks that build to the pay-per-view.
All right. So, yeah, I thought that was really cool, and he's going to, what is his line? Each scar will remind me that be a reminder that I'm better than you, and you know it. It's
and for that segment, as soon as he announced that, I was just picturing, the Tommy Dreamer Raven segment.
Oh yes, thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah, thank you, sir. May I have another? I could see Cody saying something like that as he's getting whipped by MJF.
God, that's going to be so awesome.
And I can picture the women in the crowd crying as Cody is getting whipped.
Yes, and Arn Anderson standing there like, you can take it, just, one more, kind of telling them to keep going kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, we got the main event. The Elite. The Elite. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus the Bastard Pac and the Lucha Bros, Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. Hangman had been drinking some cocktails. He joined the commentary. He then found out on commentary that he was tagging with Kenny Omega the next week against Private Party. He's like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because JR asked him directly, you're not with the Elite anymore. And he's like, well, I'm trying.
Yeah. And also when they were like writing down stuff, they had that quick segment with Riho in the back.
Yeah, oh yeah. And Britt Baker actually, it came from the heart. I could see that. And it actually was very believable. How did you take it?
Yeah, I thought it was very believable. I think Britt Baker is better off as a heel. I mean, she has RBF, and they keep pushing this whole dentist thing, and I think that plays off better if you're a heel. Like, I'm better than all these women because I'm a dentist. I have my own practice, and I'm still here wrestling every week. Like, I'm better than you. I'm better than everybody. It's something I think that can make her very arrogant, and I just feel like she would just be better off being a heel, and so I think this is kind of a step in that direction.
Yes, I mean, she has so much material as a heel. Like, the fact, and if she wants to use it, I am okay with her not using it. She is her own person. But the fact that she's with Adam Cole, oh my God, she could put that over and get her so much heat.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I know she's our own person. She might not ever use it, but it's there, because they're the enemy, especially when you're talking to a live AEW crowd. Yeah, so she could play up a lot of stuff. I mean, from the first time I saw her or saw her wrestle, I thought she was a heel.
Yeah, I mean, she just kind of comes off like she just has that. There's something about her, like it's her presence. It's kind of like she has like I'm that better than you kind of vibe about her, and not in a good way. It's like almost like a mean girl kind of way.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just. It is like she seems so uncomfortable playing a face.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, get her in there. Let her play the character that she is, that she's more, comfortable with. And that's what and I think she, like the way she talks, I think she will be good on the mic as a heel.
Yeah, I think she'll be much more comfortable, and she can just truly, like this promo right here, like how she let Riho have it. Like, you come in, you steal the win, and you go away. I'm here every week. I have my own practice, and I still manage to show up and wrestle. But you just want to, come in and come out as you please. And so I think she keeps, cutting promos like that. She's gonna get somewhere.
And she called the win a fluke, which is such a heel thing.
Right.
Yes. So the best way to describe this tag team match for all of you, for people that are familiar with Social Suplex and happen to listen to One Nation Radio, this match was Rich Latta's Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Yes.
This was my favorite match watching live at the tapings. This was an all-out sprint. It reminded me of the main event of All In, of that six-man tag. This was a 13-minute sprint, double destroyers, V-triggers, sling blades, black arrows, Hurricane Rana, super kicks, like any crazy high spot move you can think. These guys were doing it, and they were doing it at a fast pace, and it was awesome.
Yes, and it was just like they were all on. Like a couple times with Phoenix over the last couple of months, he's like got lost in the middle of spots, or where he was going for his own thing and no one knew what was coming. That was not a problem in this match. Everything looked crisp and good, and super kicks out of nowhere, and ends with a one-winged angel.
Yeah, and I loved that the whole theme of this show was like, will the Elite get back on track? And we had the Cody match, and he won, and then this main event here. And I love that the Elite did win. And that's one thing I've been loving about AEW is that they have been able to take feedback and adjust. They know a lot of fans and a lot of reporters and wrestling journalists, wrestling media have been complaining that of the lack of focus on the Elite and the fact that the Elite have not been winning. And they turned that into a storyline. That was the whole theme of this show. And all the current members of the Elite got big wins.
Yeah, I just thought it was a perfect episode, especially when you're not going up against anyone. I thought this was like you would probably getting more eyes on your product than you normally would. Maybe some eyes that are normally at the other brand. I thought this was like an all-around good wrestling show.
Yeah, from opening to closing, this was a great wrestling show. And as soon as I saw this card and I knew that NXT was doing their awards show, I'm like, yeah, they're going to get close to 1 million tonight. Yeah,
and they did. They did. The exact number, it was really, really close. 967,000 to NXT's 548,000, which I have to tell you, the NXT number is impressive because they didn't put on one match.
Right. Well, there were replays of takeover matches, though.
Yeah, it was just like an award show. So I was really, really like that. I mean, if I was NXT people, I'm like, we didn't even run a live show, and we still got 548,000, which is pretty amazing. So, but yeah, 967,000, strong numbers in 18 to 34. I think it was 467,000 to 195,000, and of course, Dave Meltzer always lets us know that DVR numbers generally bring the total up to that 1.4 million they got from the first week. But
right.
We're just worried about the live. 967,000. Very good week. Very strong showing. Like I said, I had messaged a friend, and I was like, because honestly, the doom and gloom really didn't get to me, but it made me start questioning things.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, okay. So I saw this number and was like, oh, okay, we're all right. Because that was the whole thing. It was just okay.
Yeah, and one more thing about the main event, something that kind of alarmed me a little bit, and I don't know how. Well, I guess watch it back, but the Elite entrance when they came out, it was one of the weaker pops that I've ever heard for the Elite, and I've seen these guys in action a lot in the last 2 years, and they always get huge pops as soon as their music hits. And I don't know if it was because they came out with being the Elite music or if the crowd was getting tired, but it didn't seem as loud of a pop when their music hit.
Yeah, you know what? I did not notice that at the time, but now that you bring it up, I kind of remember it. And that's kind of, that is kind of weird. Were you cold? Because I heard it was a little chilly out there.
It was cold, but where we were sitting, we kind of had like a little roof over us, so it wasn't as cold in the section where we were at. We were in section 205, I think it was, and where we were at, it wasn't quite cold. So maybe everybody else and where they were sitting, maybe they were cold. Maybe there were fans who just didn't recognize being the Elite theme and were expecting Super Kick Party or Battle Cry, and maybe that was it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be any of that, but that is kind of weird that they didn't get the pop that you were used to hearing. And, that's the good thing about having you in there, because that's not something I don't think we would have picked up on from the outside of it.
Right. Young Boy was with me and a couple other friends of the show, and I remember he looked over at me, and he was just like, bro, like, that's not the pop these guys should be getting. Like, this should be a lot louder. Like, we've been at Ring of Honor shows. We were at All In, like, We've seen these guys, we've heard these guys get monstrous pops, and like this wasn't what I was expecting. And I feel like the Lucha Bros got a way bigger reaction at first than the Elite did.
Well, the Lucha Bros, when this show started, I said I thought Ray Phoenix and Pentagon were going to be the breakout stars because they were on Impact. And, not a lot of people saw them. And it's just like when I saw them for the first time, person that, been watching wrestling forever, I thought, wow, I've never seen anything like this. And they immediately became some of my favorite wrestlers. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of people. And I noticed Pentagon first, but then I saw Reef Phoenix work, and oh my God. I mean, I always say he's probably one of the best wrestlers in the world. And it's not,
right.
Yeah, I think he's right there. So
I also think that the fact that the Lucha Bros, I feel like they've been winning a lot more than the Elite. And I do think those wins and losses do play into who people are getting behind. And yes, this is all Elite wrestling, and it's, the Elite brought us to the table, but the Lucha Bros are a team they've been spotlighting and have been getting wins. And you mentioned just how, charismatic Pentagon is and how amazing Ray Phoenix is in the ring. So they're starting to draw some of these fans behind them.
Yeah, that spot where Pentagon takes off his glove and he throws it, and Kenny kind of doesn't even move and catches it, and it slaps him with the glove. Oh my God, I popped hard for that one. And I was like, man, this is awesome. I love these. I love when Kenny gets in the ring with Pentagon. That match was at All In, and it was just a hell of a match. And anytime these people can get in the ring, and honestly, it generally doesn't even matter who the Lucha Bros partner is, it's going to be a hell of a match. This time, you have one of the best wrestlers in the world in the Bastard Pac. He only adds to it. And everything all the rest of them can do, Pac can do it too. So it's like it wasn't like you brought in somebody that couldn't hang.
And something, I don't know if people notice this or not too, but this was the match that was originally advertised as a main event for Fyter Fest before there was the whole visa or whatever issues with PAC, and they had to pull in Laredo Kid. So it was pretty cool that they went back to this match that they weren't able to deliver earlier last year.
So just saying, for all these people that panic and got their hands waving, rabble, because, you have to switch a match from one week to another, AEW generally finds a way to get you. They find a way to make it up to you,
Right.
So,
I mean, even if they didn't even do this match, I thought Laredo Kid that night was an excellent replacement. And Laredo Kid is another phenomenal guy that I expect to kind of get some more U.S. dates this year and break out. So they didn't even have to run this back. But yeah, they ran this match back, and then with the whole women's title picture, we're getting the Riho Chris Statlander match next week.
Yeah, and that's what I was like. I had a friend that said, that made him look stupid. I'm like, are you serious? I was like, if you watch the other company, as I have so lovingly called them, they promise matches and don't deliver all the time.
Yeah.
All AEW did was push the match back a week.
Right. I saw a lot of people that were like, oh, they advertised this match for weeks and now they're switching it. I'm like, first of all, I think it was like 2 weeks that the match was advertised, and the match is still happening a week later. Now, I do think they should have probably figured that out ahead of time, and that way, like we were saying earlier, like they could have just did a normal match here and then really push that match next week. But it is what it is. I think it's great that Chris Statlander, it shows her character that she wanted to, keep her word and stick with her date at Bar Wrestling. And it shows that AEW is willing to, work with people like that as well. So I think it's good that she stuck to her commitment, and we're still getting the match next week. I mean, I am sad I didn't get to see Chris Statlander in person. I am in love with an alien. But, one of these days I will get to see her live in action.
Yeah, you definitely. I could see that definitely happening. It was funny. She did the week before they came to Dallas. She did her a meet and greet before the show, and then when my week, she wasn't, even on the show, and I was a little annoyed. But
actually, it's funny. I actually did see her in action at Shimmer in New York, but I had no idea who she was then, and it just went right over my head. Like, I don't even remember the match. And, you know, now I'm in love, and I want to see her any chance I get.
Oh, man, it's like the crap I get from I get from Young Boy when I was at that I think it was the New Orleans show, and he's like, you were there with this person, this person, this. I'm like, yeah, but I was tired and I didn't know who they were, so I didn't pay attention. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but WrestleMania is a long day. You know,
Yeah.
It's a very, very long day, and it was at the end of a very, very long day. I only went to the show because it was across the street from Access, so it was like, oh shit, I don't want to go back to the room yet, so I went to the show, and Suzuki was on it. That's why I went. I had never seen Minoru Suzuki live, so I wanted to see that. But, I remember that. But I don't remember a lot more of the show.
Now, I do have a question for you coming off of this main event. So, clearly, they have been building up. You know, Pac wants a rubber match with Kenny. And also, they're been teasing Kenny versus Hangman. Which match do you think they're going to do at the pay-per-view? Do you think they're going to go with the Pac Omega 3, or are they going to do Omega and Hangman?
I think they're going to go with Pac and Omega 3.
Okay.
I just think it's a pay-per-view quality match. They might build it up to where the winner gets the next title shot. Because that'll then lead, if they're doing like a pay-per-view, the big title shots that are pay-per-view, that would lead into Double or Nothing. And the main event of Double or Nothing last year was Jericho and Omega. Let's do it again before the title.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm just kind of fast forwarding, seeing what's logical, and because everyone, to me, the goal will be to get in on Omega eventually. So. Right.
Yeah, I think Omega. His kind of story right now is to get in that picture and beat Jericho and get that AEW title. And it would make perfect sense a year later, he finds himself right back in that position and he has the chance to actually to be able to beat Jericho.
Yeah. He comes in prepared. You get a good few month build and, the elite versus the inner circle type thing. I think that'd be pretty awesome.
Now, but there is one monkey wrench, though. Chris Jericho would have to get past Jon Moxley.
Chris Jericho would have to get past Jon Moxley.
Which there is a story for Mox and Omega, because technically these guys have not wrestled yet. So you could have Moxley win the title, and you do officially, legally, Mox versus Omega for the title.
Oh, yeah, that would be another big draw. I think either one of those could definitely happen. I like Mox in the position that he's in. I don't think, and this is just for optics, I don't think you want to go former WWE legend to another former WWE legend, because that would make it look like the rest of the roster is under them.
Yeah, personally, I think the better story would be to do Omega Jericho and have Omega take it from Jericho. I mean, it's already going to be kind of weird that the main event of the next pay-per-view is going to be two former WWE guys in the world title picture, and I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of people complaining about that. But, I mean, they're two hot guys, and it's going to be a great feud. But, yeah, I do think they need to make sure the elite guys are kind of in there with the WWE guys.
Yes, and I just want to let everyone know that Jon Moxley would kick Dean Ambrose's ass. It wouldn't even be close.
Yeah.
It'd be a squash match. That dude'd be over there with a hot dog cart or some shit. I don't know. I don't know about that guy, but I like that Jon Moxley guy. He's pretty good at wrestling. Let's see. The reason, now we get to the reason that we brought you on, the thing that the nerdy wrestling world is talking about. So I know a lot of casual fans don't even know this is going on, but it's Wrestle Kingdom 14, And why will we be talking about Wrestle Kingdom 14 on an AEW podcast? Well, we got two of the biggest stars of the AEW, the aforementioned Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho, respectively, are on the show. So, let's talk about the U.S. title match. That's on the first night. We got Lance Archer going up against Jon Moxley in a Texas death match. The Japanese-style Texas death match, the winner only can win by submission or a knockout or a 10 count in this case. So, man, I've heard it on Keepin' It Strong Style, but for those that don't listen to Keepin' It Strong Style, which you should, show drops every Monday. But what do you think's going to happen in this match?
Yeah, so I think this match is going to be a wild, crazy brawl. And just to catch up those people who might not know the whole story here, so Jon Moxley was in New Japan, he wrestled in New Japan a lot this year, and he won the IWGP US title from Juice Robinson at the Best of Super Junior finals. And then he was supposed to defend that title again against Juice. Juice beat him in the G1 finals towards the end, and then that was going to set up the rematch up at King of Pro Wrestling. Mox was not able to make the title defense due to a tsunami, and it's traditional New Japan rules when they advertise a title match and the champion can't make it, whether it's his fault or not, they strip the champion of the title and they do another title match. So they did Lance Archer versus Juice Robinson, and Lance Archer won the title from there. So Jon Moxley is coming back to challenge for the title that he technically never lost. And it's going to be this Texas Death Match. And I think it's going to be a wild, crazy brawl. These guys are going to be battling all up and down the Tokyo Dome. They're going to be putting each other through tables. It's going to be a very intense matchup, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am absolutely looking forward to it. I said G1 Moxley is my favorite version of Moxley. Just putting on killer match after killer match and just being this vicious, hardcore guy that'll do anything to win. So you're going up against the murder hawk monster, Lance Archer. I just think it's going to be violent. There is not going to be any lockups. There's not going to be any headlocks. It's going to be a fight. I see Moxley coming out as the victor because, as I keep up with the show and watch the big shows, I think the original story, in my mind, was to have Robinson get his title back from Moxley. But then Moxley couldn't make the show, so I think this is a way of reverting back to that original plan.
Exactly, yeah. The plan was, at King of Pro Wrestling for Juice to get the title back, beat Mox again, and that would have elevated Juice, which they're definitely looking to do, especially coming this year with all the America shows. And, yeah, they weren't able to do that. So, they get to reward Lance Archer, one, for just having an amazing year and stepping up in that singles division, and reward him, too, for just being able to step in kind of at the last minute there in that U.S. title picture. So you reward Lance Archer, you get him a big single spot on the Tokyo Dome against one of the hottest stars in all of wrestling today. You reward him there, and then you get the title back on Mox, and then you can do your original plan, what you were going to do. So the winner of this match will face Juice Robinson on night 2. So we both think Jon Mox is going to win. He's going to face Juice on night 2, and they can do the match that was supposed to happen at King of Pro Wrestling. And Juice will then defeat Jon Moxley, be the U.S. champion, and get ready to, jump aboard New Japan of America with the upcoming New Beginning in USA tour.
Perfect. And then you have a perfect reason for Lance Archer to get another title shot, because the last time him and Juice wrestled, he beat Juice, and he wouldn't have gotten pinned by Moxley.
Right, and so, yeah, I'm pretty sure one of these nights it's going to probably be Juice versus Archer for the U.S. title when they make their debut here in the Southeast later this month. And I think another good reason for Moxley winning, too, is like you have Jon Moxley in Japan. Why not book him twice? Like, get your money's worth with him. You have him on night 1. You have the option to use him night 2. You're going to use him night 2. We saw the positive effect that Chris Jericho has had on New Japan World subscriptions. And during the summer, we saw Mox's effects during the G1 on their subscriptions. So having Mox on there 2 nights, especially for casual fans or AEW fans, guys listening to this podcast who love Moxley, this is your chance for New Japan to hook those fans on both nights, whether they're watching on New Japan World or they decide to go the Fight TV route.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those win-win situations for everyone. I mean, Moxley's on TV more, and he signed with New Japan first, so I don't know if this finishes commitment or if they get a few more weeks out of him, but you can get him out of the U.S. title picture and maybe give him someone else big.
Right.
I mean, he immediately fits wherever you want to just because of his name.
Right. Yeah. Everything I've heard, especially just from Moxley himself, he plans on continuing to work for New Japan in the future, and I expect to see him. I've heard that he's going to actually work more New Japan this year in between AEW stuff. So I think we're going to see a lot more of him in Japan. And right now, with New Japan coming to America, Tony Khan doesn't want AEW guys working for competitors in America. So Jon Moxley as U.S. champion doesn't really work out because they wouldn't be able to have their U.S. champ defend on U.S. shows. So it does make sense to get that on Juice Robinson, and then you could use Moxley in Japan. I could see him challenging for the IWGP title. There's other dream matches. He could wrestle Suzuki. People want to see the Ishii rematch. There's a ton of stuff for him to do outside the U.S. title. You can put one of the IC title, the Never title on him, a title that they don't necessarily need defended in the U.S. if you want to put a belt on him.
Absolutely. Well, the next match is my most anticipated match of the weekend. The fate of the wrestling world is on the line as Chris Jericho could be wrestling against my new favorite wrestler, Tanahashi, if he wins this. Tanahashi, I need him to win this match. He will get, even though I know how the results are decided in wrestling, he would get like undying loyalty. Because I've never been a Tanahashi guy. Never. I always say it'd be like catching, to me, Tanahashi is like catching John Cena in year 12.
Right.
You don't have that history with him to have that love for him that everyone else does. And he's like slower and, doesn't get quite as high when he jumps over the ropes and all that stuff, which to me, that's as high as he's ever gotten. Because I just started watching him. You get what I'm saying?
Right. I totally understand. It's any top star. I mean, back in the day, if you came in late on the Hogan run, you might not understand why people love Hogan. If you came in late on, Shawn Michaels or any of these other top guys and you don't see them in their full prime, it's kind of hard to get behind them. So I know a lot of people, who have started watching the last year or so, yes, you understand Tanahashi's an ace, but you might not truly fully have the appreciation if you, didn't follow him from the beginning or gone back and watched, some of that stuff, especially, leading out of the Dark Ages and into this kind of Wrestle Kingdom era and his run that he's had the last decade. It's hard to have that emotional attachment if you haven't done all that.
But yes, I will say this, and this is my biggest compliment to Tanahashi. He has the most violent-looking frog splash ever. Violent-looking frog splash is what I was trying to say. Ever. I always said it. Like, everyone else looks like a pretty move. His looks like an assault. Yeah,
it looks like he's I'm trying to hurt you by driving my body through yours.
Yes. It's like Rob Van Dam's is pretty. He gets super, super high. Eddie Guerrero's the first one I ever seen. Beautiful. D'Lo Brown, he, puts a little swag on it. I get it. But Tanahashi's looks like it hurts.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm only pumping because he gets me more velocity to land on you. I've always wanted to say that because like Tanahashi is like one of those things. Like I said, I don't get it. And when we have a lot of conversations, I'm like, he's Tanahashi. But that's one thing I respect about him. When he does that move, I don't expect the guy to get up.
Yeah, the high flat flows.
Yeah. High fly Floyd.
Those high impact maneuvers in New Japan. And yeah, I love Tanahashi. I started watching Wrestle Kingdom 9 Wrestle Kingdom 9, and kind of the intro for a lot of fans when they were doing that pay-per-view with Global Force Wrestling, and I've kind of gone back and done my homework, so I do have that appreciation for Tanahashi, and I'm very excited for this match with Jericho.
Yes, just to get to what I was saying, Jericho's first Tanahashi's told, what was the magazine called?
Tokyo Sports.
Tokyo Sport. If he wins, he was going to open the forbidden door, and he wanted to challenge for the AEW World Title. The greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. And then Chris Jericho said, he cuts a promo saying basically, he talked to Tony, let's get this done. If you win, of course you get an AEW title shot. So at this point, it's like, I don't feel like New Japan Global, NJPW Global retweeted it, and it just feels like there's something more there to me. I know the New Japan people, and I listen to you, so I know about paying attention. I pay attention. I know the Jay White Mole thing. Some people just go out on their own and just talk shit, and but this one I feel like maybe it's because I want it to be something more to it. It might be more want than actual but I feel like there's something there.
Yeah, there's a couple things here. So first of all, I think what they did was brilliant because this is a semi-main event of night 2, and being in such a high spot, this match has been very cold until this angle has happened. Traditionally, Jericho in the past to set up his New Japan matches, yes, he does promos, but he also usually does make a surprise appearance and does a physical attack. We saw that in the Kenny Omega feud. We saw that in the Naito feud. And we saw that with the Evil match that he did at Power Struggle 2018. But with the Tanahashi, the last we saw of Jericho in Japan was at Dominion, where he lost to Okada and he attacked Okada post-match and Tanahashi made the save. Since then, there literally has not been any physicality between Jericho and Tanahashi. It's only been Jericho promo videos. So this match has been real cold compared to all the other top billing matches on Wrestle Kingdom. So I thought it was a brilliant angle for Tanahashi, just using plain wrestling logic. I'm beating a world champion. If I beat him, I should be the number one contender. I should get a shot. And then Jericho running with it as well. So I thought that was great that they did that. It really puts a lot of intrigue in this match. A lot of people now have their eyes locked on this match because they want to see what's going to happen. Like, if Tanahashi wins, are we actually going to get Tanahashi in AEW? Does this open up this forbidden door? Are we going to get this partnership that everybody has been wanting? Now, we've been hearing a lot of different things. I know Meltzer has reported the last couple of days that he's hearing that things have changed once again, and that the size of they're opening up to a possibility, but nothing's set in stone yet. We saw the wrestlers in room service video with the Bucks and Kenny and Nakazawa kind of venting about how their run in New Japan ended and how they were mad about leaving, being kicked off of New Year's Dash last year. And then also we've had the issues with Kenny in the past where he said that somebody was stopping him from getting into the country. So we do know that there's still a little bit of heat on both sides. Like, nobody in the New Japan office has really been clamoring to bring the Elite back either. So it's hard. And I know, we've heard also some rumors of stuff that there could be a potential involvement of Elite guys at the Dome. We never really saw the signs of that coming true, but there's so much something could happen or it cannot happen.
See, and I agree, but let me conspiracy theory. Let me throw some things out there for you. So Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are around each other quite a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they could have released this wrestlers in room service together at any point in time, correct?
Right.
All right. So they could do this anytime, right? And then they choose, 2-3 weeks before New Japan's biggest show, right?
Mm-hmm.
To bitch about it. So they do that. Second, and on the room service thing, they could have talked about how hard it is being wrestlers and being producers. They could have talked about a lot of different things. But what they do, they rewound and talk about a year ago and how they are still bitter from New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks conveniently, hey, we're not on social media anymore. So you're not really tracking where they are at, right? You don't really know where they are right now, right?
Yeah.
And all you said, they just got off social media because everybody's being mean to them. People have been being mean to the Young Bucks for 10 years. You know?
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing and no reason for them to get off the web. Kenny Omega stopped posting. And I'm just going to point this out. Cody Rhodes, maybe this is wrong or not, he rarely goes a day without posting something, right?
Right.
He went exactly 18 hours between posts. What can you do in 18 hours, sir?
Get to Japan.
I'm not saying he's there. I'm not saying they're there. But I'm saying they have done nothing and I think on purpose to convince you that they're not there.
Right. And also there was that one Being the Elite, I think it was a couple weeks ago, where Kenny was wearing the New Japan shorts.
Yes.
Nick Jackson was like, you can't wear those. People are going to think that we have a partnership with New Japan.
Yep. And you know what? Nothing is said on accident on Being the Elite.
Right.
Everything leads to something on Being the Elite.
Right. And, in wrestling, you never know what is a work or not. And on this week's Keeping It Strong Style, I did pose a question to Young Boy and Chris Sampson. I'm like, what if this is a work? It seems unlikely, but you laid the case out, Floyd. You laid it out very well. There's all these signs of things that are it could potentially, there could be something there. There could be something more there. And I know Josh has been jokingly saying his prediction is the Elite's going to come out on New Year's Dash, but wouldn't that kind of make sense if it is a work? They're complaining that they missed New Year's Dash last year, and then they show up on New Year's Dash this year?
I am actually going a little more aggressive than our pals. I am going a little more aggressive than our pal. I think they're going to be in Japan this weekend.
You think they're going to be on the Tokyo Wrestle Kingdom shows?
I'm not going to say the Elite. I feel like Wrestle Kingdom show.
Okay.
I do. If I'm going to fantasy book, I'm not saying I have any idea why they're going to be there, but if I'm going to fantasy book, I feel like it's time to get the vengeance on God. And that tag match really has no heat. The whole tag team division has no heat, right?
Right.
How do you bring heat back to the tag team division? The Young Bucks. And I remember when Kenny had his big match against Okada for the title and finally beat him, who was in this corner?
The Bucks.
Oh, no. Wasn't it Ibushi?
That's right, Ibushi. That's right. Yeah, then the Bucks came out afterwards, yeah.
Who should be in Ibushi's corner when he fights Okada for the title?
Could say Kenny.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that is a prediction, and if it's wrong, you'll never hear about it again. But if it's right, it'll be the first 15 minutes of next week's show. I'm just saying. Just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out.
But we have heard comments from Ibushi where he said, I've been by myself all the time and kind of just a random shots of, pretty much ignoring Kenny and kind of pretending like Kenny has not been there for him. So
yeah. And like I said, it's a lot. A big thing that I think, and I've said this, necessity sometimes breeds forgiveness. It's like you got the brother and sister not talking to each other, then someone in the family dies, and that's a bigger deal, so you got to put it aside, right?
Right.
Well, Access might have did us a favor. by killing New Japan's TV deal. So now New Japan's coming to America with no TV. Hey, do we know anybody with a weekly live TV show that could help get over New Japan wrestlers?
We do, but here's my issue with that. Dynamite, they already have a hard time getting the guys they already have, the guys and ladies they already have on that 2-hour show every week. And now they're going to have to try and squeeze in a New Japan guy every week.
You know, you got to give some to get some, you know? I'm just saying. I mean, it's kind of at a point where it could be win-win. Because the best thing about New Japan America, it is not really competition for Dynamite. They said they're not doing house shows. They're not going to go on the road. So is it really competition at that point?
I think it's competition in the sense that, you know, you're essentially trying to advertise to the same fan base to come to shows. I mean, there's only so much in a travel budget a year to go to shows, and it's like, are you going to choose to go to a Dynamite, or are you going to choose to go to one of these New Japan of America shows?
People choose. Oh, that's so weird. I just go to all of it.
No, not everybody has either the flexibility or the money to always go to all of them. So sometimes you have to make some tough choices. Yeah. And it's like
like I said, it's just like AEW shows are every Wednesday. Then they'll do their pay-per-views once a quarter. Long as they can work it out where New Japan's not running shows when they're doing their pay-per-view once a quarter, they're not directly competing against each other is what I'm saying.
Right. And I think, honestly, the relationship, I think it'd be really beneficial for a lot of the younger AEW wrestlers because, you know, right now, majority of them, they're only wrestling once a week. They're not getting a lot of reps in to really improve. And if they were able to work these New Japan of America shows that are going to be on the weekends throughout the year, I think that'd be great experience, you know, for guys like, you know, like Private Party, Kip Sabian, some of these younger guys who could use some more reps and get them some more, you know, Sammy Guevara, and you get them over there. You have them wrestling guys like Ishii and Will Ospreay and Okada and Tanahashi, and you know,
something very important is that New Japan has a juniors division,
right?
That AEW doesn't have. So Sammy Guevara is maybe he's in what is it? The J Cup. Not Super J Cup.
Best of Super Juniors.
Best of the Super Juniors. You know, you have all this more flexibility for the wrestlers that gets them more exposure, and you don't effectively have to have a house show.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like it makes so much sense. How does it not happen? But this is wrestling. So you really can't just say that.
Right. Here's what I'll say. Never say never in pro wrestling. You know, there are wilder things that have happened. Like if New Japan and AEW work together, like honestly, I don't really see that. That wouldn't be like such a crazy idea. Yeah. We've seen way crazier things in wrestling, you know, over the last 30 years that have happened. And so never say never in wrestling. We're not saying it's going to happen. We're not saying it is happening. It's not going to happen, but there's a potential. There are some signs. You never say never. It could happen.
I am going to stay in a level of cautious optimism.
Yeah,
that's where I'm going to live.
The one thing that's going to be a factor is whether or not New Japan does want to get its own TV deal in America. They said as of right now they're not planning on getting one, but I know Rocky sent a tweet out asking what channel would you like to see New Japan on, and they are planning on doing a lot of New Japan America shows this year. So if they do end up getting a TV deal, I think that might be a roadblock in a potential partnership with AEW. But if they choose to stick with the New Japan world model and not worry about TV, then there's more of a chance of that relationship opening up.
Yeah, if I was Turner, I would have jumped on the New Japan thing, but New Japan, as soon as they found out they didn't have a home, just if you could do, let's just say you could just do Wrestle Kingdom, the four big ones, the Wrestle Kingdom, Dominion. What am I missing?
Our Struggle and
King of Pro Wrestling. Let's just say you could do those and not necessarily do them live, but have them all on the same day. You're going to get people watching it on TV. Mm-hmm. And it's just like any channel I think would be smart to have New Japan Pro Wrestling. But, I'm just a big fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So
yeah, I mean, it's a great product. It's an excellent product. And I think, there are channels that could benefit from it. Adam Swift, he was the guy at Access that was responsible for that relationship and getting New Japan on Access. And he was one of the guys that was let go when Anthem bought Access. They shut the whole Dallas office down. So, keep an eye out for wherever Adam Swift lands. If he gets another job with another TV channel, that could be a potential for New Japan in the future.
Absolutely. And I'd be happy for him. It's like, I know I come off as very aggressive against the WWE. I have no problem with New Japan other than the fact that, they kind of broke up with the Elite. But they was like, hey, I'm going to do this other thing, but I still want to hang out. New Japan's like, no, we're cool. It's like, cold shoulder. No, I'm not calling you back. No, but it's crazy. It's crazy how this whole situation went down. Tanahashi and Jericho kind of hold. Well, the New Japan Gato holds the power right now.
Right. And I think a big step in that direction is, like you mentioned, like New Japan, like retweeting and putting the Jericho video on their site and mentioning the 3 letters AEW on their YouTube channel, on their social media, because majority of the year they were not mentioning Kenny Omega or the Bucks or AEW on air whatsoever. But in the last few months, we've heard them mention Kenny's name. They're now using this whole AEW storyline that Tanahashi and Jericho are working with. So
yeah, just like Tanahashi wins tomorrow morning or tonight, then maybe gets his title shot at Bash at the Beach. One of those one of those shows, and then Jericho wins, of course. But you say, you can see the action of all these New Japan people as they come to town or whatever,
Right.
It works. It doesn't have to be one match in each show doesn't have to equal a full partnership, but dip that toe in the water.
Right. And also, or something that not many people have been talking about, and we kind of highlighted it, I think it was on this week's show or some of the show that we did this week, that with Tanahashi, he's at a level, he's at that Jushin Thunder Liger level where he could probably do a deal on his own, similar like how Jericho and Mox have in their contract to do New Japan. He could have in his contract to do American stuff. We saw over the years, Liger would come to Ring of Honor, TNA. He had a takeover match with Tyler Breeze. Liger had that power to kind of take outside, American bookings, regardless of who the American partner was at the time. So Tanahashi, he's definitely at that legend status, and he just re-signed a new contract with New Japan. What are they going to say, Tanahashi? No, you can't, work an American date if he's not booked for New Japan. So I think he's at that level. He has a stroke to where he could say, I'm taking, if I'm beating Jericho, I'm going to work an AEW show as one of my American dates this year, and it not really be a New Japan AEW thing, but an AEW Tanahashi partnership.
Yeah, it would be great. I would be more than welcome, and I think it would add a little something different to the AEW roster. AEW main event gives you another main event to get Chris Jericho to the next show. There's just a lot of things there. And I just, like I said, I think it's mutually beneficial. I know there's some New Japan fans that don't want it. I know there's some AEW fans that don't want it. But I can tell you, since this was mentioned, I'm in the AEW Discord, and it went from I don't care that this is going on to, hey, how do you sign up for New Japan World?
Right, yeah. Like I said, it was a brilliant move to heat this matchup, get some eyes that's going to bump up those New Japan subscription numbers, or it might get some more Fight TV orders. It's definitely going to draw eyes. It adds a lot of intrigue to this match. And I hate to be like the Debbie Downer here, but I do think that Chris Jericho is going to win. I think it was always a plan for Jericho to win. If you look at his history since he's been on this recent run in New Japan, he has not won in the Dome yet. He lost to Kenny at Wrestle Kingdom 12, lost to Naito at Wrestle Kingdom 13. He's only won 2 of the 5 New Japan matches he's had, where he defeated Naito at Dominion for the IC title, and he defeated Evil at Power Struggle 2018. So if they're going to keep using Jericho, you don't want him always coming in and losing. He needs a win. He needs a win in the Dome. You need him to be heated up as a commodity to use later on in the year. So I do think he is going to beat Tanahashi come January 5th. I
agree with everything you said because, you're the New Japan guru. But I am I'm sending some thoughts up to my wrestling deity, hoping that somehow at the last minute they change their mind and Chris Jericho loses. But yes. I don't think Jericho losing is the only way for it to happen, but I still think it would help.
Right, yeah. There are a lot of fans of both products that are hoping and praying that this works out. I know, Rich in the Social Suplex thread, he's hoping that we get this. A lot of people in the thread are hoping we get this partnership, and like we said, it would be beneficial for both companies as long as New Japan doesn't end up getting an American TV deal. It would be a great way to add a little something different to Dynamites and pay-per-views by featuring a New Japan guy every once in a while, and then it would be great for the young guys in AEW to get some more reps going on the New Japan America tours.
Absolutely. So for next week's Dynamite, we got a few things. Brandy's going to show up on the show. Doesn't really say what she's going to be doing, but Brandy's going to be there. They are going to be doing an ode to the kings of Southern Wrestling. Is that how they put it?
I thought it was like something like Memphis Legends Appreciation.
Memphis Legends Appreciation. So a lot of people are going to be showing up, I take it. But the matches we know of, Sammy Guevara versus Christopher Daniels. I think Rich Latta is correct, as he so lovingly put it. Sammy's going to run through some old people.
Yeah.
And then we get Hangman and Kenny versus Private Party. I honestly think this is when Hangman's going to turn.
Yeah. Do you think that Private Party's going to win?
Oh, yes. I think Hangman's going to give old Kenny the buckshot lariat again. Or actually maybe Kenny gives Hangman the V-trigger. And that's how Private Party wins. Because, wrestling, they tend to try to go the other way. And then Hangman doesn't take it as nice as Kenny took it when he got buckshot lariated.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that breakup is pretty imminent. I don't think it's going to stretch out more than 1 or 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got to build to the match. Let's see. I think that's.
There's the Rhodes Brothers versus Lucha Bros.
Yeah, 2 more. Rhodes Brothers versus Lucha Bros. Huge match. This is one of those ones that could be a 2 or it could be a 4.
What do you mean?
Like, it could be a 2-star match or it could be a 4-star match. I think the ceiling. I think the ceiling's 4-star. But if it came out and it's a stinker, I would not be shocked. These are people that work completely different styles. Pentagon could slow it down. Even in, Impact, he wrestled a slower style. He's more character work anyway, so that works with the Rhodes. But Ray Phoenix, I don't know how that's going to work out.
Cody had some great matches with Rey Mysterio in the company.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Cody's been doing a better job. He's become more versatile. He has expanded his moveset and kind of what he can do. I'm very optimistic about this match. I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah, like I said, it could stink or it could be great. I just don't know. I don't think it has 5-star potential because, of course, it's on TV. Not a lot of TV matches have that. But I think strong four. If everything works the way it wants to. But like I said, it's just I'm playing Lucha Bro matches back, and I see so many points of failure if their opponents aren't on.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. That was actually me trying to do an impartial critique of what the match could be because it's Cody's in it, so I think it's going to be like 22 stars at least on the Floyd scale.
and Arn Anderson's going to be out there too.
Exactly. So I mean, Arn Anderson being there starts it at 2.5 stars, and then you just go up from there. So I was trying to be impartial for a second. Doesn't happen a lot. Last is the women's title match. Hopefully, honestly, with what's on here, it should main event the show right now. They might add something else that could go on last, or it should.
Yeah, next week, NXT is back to regular schedule. There will be live NXT for matches, but. Yeah, based on what they have so far, I think the women's championship match would make a lot of sense to put on the main event. Like we talked about earlier in the show, they really need to position that championship as a top prize, and that the fact, we see on NXT that they've main evented with women before, and even on the main roster, they've main evented with women's title matches and the women. So I think, AEW, that's one of the things that they championed at the very beginning, that they were going to be inclusive and, give their women the same opportunity as the men. So they need to stick with their word. And I think they should main event with Stat and Riho, especially if we're going to get a new champ.
And Statlander is super over and super, hot right now as far as the talk of the wrestling industry. So having her win would make a lot of sense. And having it in the main event would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm all for the Statlander win, especially, I'm not sure what the deal with Riho is. I don't know what her stardom schedules look like this year, so I don't know if she'll be gone a lot. If she is gone a lot, I do think it makes a lot of sense to put it on Statlander, who's somebody that can be here every week. And she's great in the ring. Yeah, she's one of the hottest acts going right now. She just won the AEW Women's Championship from Jessica Havoc a couple weeks ago. She's all over the place on the indies, and I think she would be kind of a great person to have as the AEW's Women's World Champion.
Yeah, definitely. Completely agree. And the last thing is, will Moxley say yes? I think he'll say no with a paradigm shift.
Yeah. Or could we have the like we were saying, could he say yes and kind of be a part of the inner circle for a couple weeks and then turn?
Yeah, I see, with him, the way I'm envisioning in my head is the immediately, he takes the shirt, puts it on, give Jericho the hug, and then hits him with a paradigm shift and leave. It gets him really close to the point where everybody's not thinking about coming into the ring, so he can get away.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how I see it in my head. Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's right. I'm looking forward to it. So that'll be Dynamite for next week from South Haven, Mississippi, which I guess is a suburb of Memphis.
Yeah.
which is that's kind of weird, because Memphis is in Arkansas and Tennessee, but the Memphis show is in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know how that works. I don't know how the South works, but that just seems weird to me. Well, do you got any? Jeremy, do your plug, sir. Tell everybody about everything.
Yeah, so like Floyd mentioned, you could listen to Keeping It Strong Style. Usually drop every Tuesday right here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Like we mentioned at the beginning of this show, you can subscribe to Social Suplex Podcast Network and you get all the great shows that we have to offer here. And we drop every Tuesday. You can find us on pretty much any podcast app that you like. We're also on YouTube. You can also visit our homepage, socialsuplex.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Jeremy L. Donovan. Keeping It Strong Style, you can follow at KI Strong Style, and you can follow the mothership at Social Suplex.
All right. And for me, you can follow me at Floyd Johnson Jr. That's my name. So, yeah, I'm kind of boring with that. And then, or the show at AT Elite Pod. And, of course, I am in Discord, and it's honestly, again, very boring. Floyd from All Things Elite. That's my whole name. And then Amy's in Discord under Phoenix. Next week, we should be with Tiffany doing the show as we get ready to build up to Bash at the Beach. So, and to all the people that listen that are going on the cruise, have a great time. I know that's a big part of the Bash and the Beach situation. Make sure you go to voicesofwrestling.com, download the New Japan ebook. Jeremy's in it. Read his section. Tell him what you think about it. I am definitely going to read it, and you should be honored because I don't read very often. I really don't. I mean, I know that sounds weird, but
no, honestly, I'm not a big reader either. Like I read. I know it's bad. People, frown on people who don't read a lot, but I don't know. I just don't find it very entertaining. I'd rather watch wrestling or do a podcast. So
yeah, no, and this is how I'm like. I'll say it like this. I love Harry Potter, but I can dedicate a day to reading the book or 2 hours to watching the movie.
Yeah.
I get this, a similar story, but a lot less time. And then I watch wrestling, I watch live sports. You always wonder how I watch as much stuff as I watch. So,
right.
Yeah, because I don't read. That's how I do it. No, but
definitely check out that Voices of Wrestling ebook. It's over 300,000 words with a ton of contributors, and it is a pay what you want model. If you buy it from PayHip, the suggested price is $5.99, but you could get it for free. You can pay more. If you get it on Amazon, it is the $5.99 price on Amazon because they have to put a price on Amazon. So you could download it for free, and if you really like it, go back and pay for it. And I think it's definitely worth way more than $5.99 in my eyes. So definitely check it out. And all the contributors do get a little piece of the pie at the end of the day. So if you do buy it at some point, I'll get a little, I'll get some cents from the work. So
yeah, and the names in it are like a who's who of wrestling podcast. You know what I mean? And wrestling writers and all that kind of stuff. So you'll see names on there and people that you can follow on Twitter and, get more into this wrestling game. I definitely, like I said, I bought it last year. I bought it this year. I kicked a little money in and, because I want them to continue to do it and I want to support my friends that do what I do. So,
right, and your co-host Amy O, she had an essay in there last year.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's one thing I love about Voices of Wrestling is that they are very open to working with people from other sites and other podcasts, and that's something we try to emulate here with Social Suplex. So we are very open to working with other networks, other websites. We guest on Lords of Pain and Chair Shot Radio, and we have relationships, and we'll bring it. We've had people from Voices of Wrestling on our network, so we're very open to working with other people, and I love that Voices of Wrestling is that way as well.
Yeah, one of my mandatory podcasts every week is on Voices of Wrestling, Everything Elite. I think they're brilliant guys that look at wrestling a little bit differently than I do, and I think we can all, look at wrestling, need as many points of view as possible to, enjoy the program as much as possible.
Right, and same for me. I listen to the Super J Cast on their network, which is their New Japan podcast, and we're friends with Damon and Joel, and we have constant communication back and forth with each other. We met up in New York in person for the first time, and so Damon has been a big fan of Keeping It Strong Style, and has let us know what a great job we were doing. So we both listen to each other's shows, and there's room in the market for multiple New Japan podcasts, multiple AEW podcasts, and we can all be friends. We don't have to have a wrestling war over podcasts.
Absolutely. Like I said, everybody's accepted. Everybody's welcome. We try to, when we go to these shows, we hang with whoever's there. So that's how we want to. That's the type of environment that we want. Just not, in our regular lives, internet lives, everything that we do. We just want to all be about acceptance and be about being friends with everyone.
Right.
So, all right. So that's all you got, Jeremy?
Yeah, that's all I got, man.
All right. Thank you again for being on the show. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sticking with me through the technical difficulty.
No problem.
That went really, really crazy. But to all of you, just reminding you, like I do every week, make sure you download the show. And no matter if it's home, work, or school, always do your best to be elite.